Situation in the provisional agenda for this meeting is the situation in the Middle East. The agenda is adopted in accordance with Rule 37 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure. I invite the representative of the Syrian Arab Republic to participate in this meeting.
Madam President, it's important that this Council sends a strong collective message that any use of chemical weapons shall not be tolerated and will have consequences. The Secretary General stresses that the international community has a responsibility to hold any perpetrator of chemical weapons attacks accountable and to ensure that chemical weapons are never again used as an instrument of warfare. The protection of civilians and accountability should be at the top of our peace and security agenda. In the case of Syria, there can be no genuine protection if the parties to the conflict, government and opposition alike, are permitted to act with impunity, and if the Syrian government continues to commit human rights violations against its own citizens. Protecting the Syrian people requires immediate action. Action is rooted in the principles of the United Nations and international law. The Secretary General, in a public statement, shared that he was abhorred by the chemical weapons attack in Khan Sheikhoun. Madam President, as the Secretary General has said, these events underscore our belief that there is no other way to solve the conflict than through a political solution. We call on the parties to renew urgently their commitment to making progress in the Geneva talks.
We will now take statements from...
Three and a half years after a historically heinous war crime was committed, after the stockpiles were supposed to be destroyed, Assad, on Tuesday, showed us yet again, this time in Idlib, that he is capable of redefining horror. Tuesday's attack must be fully investigated. Impunity cannot be the norm. We will continue to work with our partners on this Security Council to ensure that those responsible are brought. The United Kingdom supports the US airstrike on the Al-Shairat airfield because war crimes have consequences, and the greatest war criminal of all, Bashar al-Assad, has now been put on notice. The US strike was a proportionate response to unspeakable acts that gave rise to overwhelming humanitarian distress. It was also a strong effort to save lives by ensuring that such acts never happen again. The resolution that we adopted 3.5 years ago provided... Instead, Russia has given Assad everything he could dream of. Without Russia's 7 vetoes in the Security Council, defying the views of other members of this council, Assad would now have faced sanctions and justice. And what did Russia get for its unconditional support? Assad ignores Russia's requests for him to obey a ceasefire. Assad defies Russia's request for him not to gas his own people. Assad thumbs his nose at Russia's calls for Assad to join a peace process.
From